for taking the time out of your day. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. What we're trying to do today is just to outline our plan for the reopening for the 2021-2022 school year. For those of you that don't know me, my name is John Boyle. I am the very proud principal here at Is34. And I'm happy to say that for September, we are welcoming all of our Eagles back to school full-time, 5 days a week. Long time coming, and it's something that I think we all need. So the first day of school for all of our kids will be Monday, September 13th. I know a lot of you probably have a million questions, and it's my hope that I answer a lot of them through the presentation today. But if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. If you wait towards the end, hopefully I'll be able to answer a lot of them. If for some reason we do not get to your question, we are keeping a record of the questions, and we will release an FAQ document to all families so that you'll see our answers in writing to any of your policy questions. If there are some questions on things that haven't been covered yet by the DOE, we'll just simply say that guidance hasn't been released yet. As we prepare for the start of the school year, I think it's important to know that the safety of our kids and the safety of our staff is our primary concern. And to that end, the DOE has put together some safety protocols and guidelines that will be adhered to at all times inside the building. And we all know that those policies and guidelines change as time goes on. So as they change, and if they change, we will continue to update you. But the real four big ones, I guess, are one, masks will be worn by all staff and students and anyone that enters the DOE building at any time. The second big one is capacity limits. Last year, it was 6 feet, and we couldn't bring everybody back into the building at those numbers. This year, it's 3 feet, and it's still a struggle. But we've been pretty creative in how we've pulled this off, and we are able to bring back all of our kids at 6 feet of spacing inside of the building, 6 feet of social distancing. In order to do that, we've had to be a little bit creative with our programming, and we've had to add some staff members, add some classrooms onto the grade, and look at some really interesting ways of organizing classrooms and furniture to fit kids into the room with spacing. The next one, and this was something that was in place last year, are temperature checks and at-home health screenings. We're not taking temperatures inside the building, but we're asking parents to take a temperature at home to make sure your child does not have a fever. And then as they're used to, they'll do their daily health screening on their phones every day before entering the building. If they need a paper copy, paper copies will be available at school. But I think the easiest way, and I think the majority of our kids have cell phones, is just to use the cell phone link to do that daily health screening. It takes about 30 seconds, and once they become used to it, it just becomes second nature. And then the last big one, and a little bit controversial, is that all DOE employees, anyone working inside the school building, will be vaccinated this year. So that's something that's new to us and something that we're still working through and trying to figure out how those vaccinations will be uploaded and visible to me. But I think the system will be in place pretty soon, and we'll be able to see all that. But I think that's a great measure because our teachers will not have to enter quarantine if they are exposed during the school year. And I think that's super valuable, having the teacher inside the room to me, having the paraprofessional, having the school aides, having the assistant principals in the building and not quarantining is an awesome step in the right direction. And just, I'll mention it that any of our students that are 12 years of age or older are also eligible for the vaccine. And if you are vaccinated, if there is an exposure inside your classroom or on your school bus, you will not have to quarantine. That student will not have to quarantine during the year. So that's just something to think about. They're your kids, you make your decisions on that front. But just to let you know, the DOE policy is they will not have to quarantine if they are exposed. It's my hope and my expectation that these safety precautions and guidelines that we outlined will help to ensure our safe return for all of our Eagles. And my goal this year is to provide our kids with the full Is34 experience. I think that's something that we've tried our best in the last 18 months to pull off, and I think we've done a great job at it. But I miss that sense of community and having everybody here inside the building. So that's something we will work towards for this school year, and getting us back to having some fun inside the building, you know, moving from class to class, traveling through the building. That's things that are important for a middle school experience. All of our students will receive their official class, their homeroom, on the first day of school. That's our policy for many, many years, and it's going to be our policy in this situation as well. So when they arrive here on the first day of school on September 13th, that's when they'll find out what homeroom they're in, and that'll be, we have a policy in place to do that orderly and safely and to get them to class. Our official school hours for this year are different than last year. They're going back to our old hours, the ones we've had in place for many, many years. Our official school hours are 8 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. Monday to Friday for all students. Say again, 8 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. Monday to Friday for all students. Please make every effort to be here on time, as your lateness does impact student conduct grades and ARIS eligibility, Eagle Society eligibility, honors placement, things along those lines. So please make sure they are on time every day. Our doors open daily at 7:40 a.m. each morning, and that's students will begin to assemble outside, either getting off the school bus or dropped off on Yetman Avenue or one of the surrounding streets by their parents. And as we start to escort them into the building, we will continue to ensure the spacing requirements and the social distancing requirements. They'll need their mask to enter the building. The mask will be worn the whole time in school, right? Except when they're eating, the mask will be worn the whole time during the day. So that's just something they need to be aware of, and something that unfortunately they're becoming a little bit used to. Grab and go breakfast is available every day for all students on their way inside the building. Some kids take advantage of it. Some kids go to Mikey's in the morning, you know, and some kids have their parents or loved ones make them breakfast in the morning. So that is, you know, your personal preference, but grab and go breakfast will be available. And our kids will all receive their official Is34 ID on the first day of school. We worked with your elementary school picture companies to get their 5th grade picture, so that if you're a 6th grade student coming in, your 5th grade picture will be the one that's on their ID card. We'll update those after we get our pictures done this year. Those ID cards are critical. They use them to swipe into the building in the morning. They use them to swipe into the bathrooms to gain access to the bathrooms during the day, and they swipe them multiple times during the week for different contests and incentives that we have inside of the school. So please take care of those ID cards, put them inside a safe place inside your school bag. Some kids wear them on their neck as an ID card, whatever your personal preference is, but please do hold on to them. They're important, they're critical to what we do, and it's something that we ask you to take good care of. You will get your pupil path login information and your OperaRule login information if you're a new student on the first day of school. If you're an existing student, your pupil path and your OperaRule information is the same. If you're a new incoming student, your Google Classroom information and how to access your Google Classroom account will be explained by Mrs. Janicki tomorrow during the 6th grade virtual tour. And if you're an existing 7th or 8th grade student, you already have your Google Classroom ID, so we're going to continue to use the same ones you've used either over the past year or 2 years. Our school website remains a vital resource for all of our kids and for all of our parents. Please check it daily as it is updated regularly. Right now, I have the calendar for the entire Is34 school year up on the website. It outlines all the special days that we do. It outlines any special assemblies that we do. It speaks about any upcoming dates that you need to know regarding picture days, vacations, anything along those lines. So please check that website. I recommend that you sync it with the calendar on your phone. There are directions on the site on how to do that. It's something that I do, and it's like having a personal secretary on your phone, because when I wake up in the morning, I know exactly what's happening that day in the school, and I can look ahead for the entire week or the entire month, or as long or as far ahead as I'd like to know what's going on here at Is34. Currently on the website is information about summer assignments. If you haven't started those, the sand is running out of the hourglass. I recommend you get started soon on those. There's information about immunizations. Now, not immunizations regarding COVID, but other immunizations that all students need to be part of the Department of Education, the varicella vaccine, other things along those lines. So please take a look at that and make sure you are checking your immunizations. It's usually our 6th and 7th graders that we have to chase for immunizations depending on birth date. So please be aware of those. If you are a new parent and you have not registered yet at Is34, but you know you're coming in September, there is important registration on there, as well as paperwork that you need to fill out and submit to us. There's also a couple of critical pieces in there for our 8th grade parents right now. Our class of 2022 parents, there is information about the yearbook and baby pictures that need to be submitted soon. And there's some really important 8th grade information regarding cap and gown. All right, again, there's some really critical information up there regarding cap and gown for 8th grade parents. Please make sure you're clicking that, taking a look at it. Right now, we need to order our 8th grade cap and gowns for the 8th grade yearbook photos. All right, in years past, we've been able to use kind of generic caps and gowns for our 8th grade photos, and where kids wore the same one over and over again. Can't do that anymore under these conditions. So every 8th grade student needs to have their cap and gown purchased, and we will give it out to them on picture day so they can wear their own for the picture, for their yearbook photo. So that's critical. So far, we've had over 200 8th grade parents buy theirs, which leaves me with a little over 300, a little over 100 that have yet to do so. So please, if you are one of those parents, click on and make the purchase. That also includes your 8th grade senior shirt in that purchase. So that money will be deducted from the senior dues total that we ask later on in the year. There's also some generic school supply information up on the website right now. Parents always ask what do they need as far as notebooks and things like that. And some information about round 2 of gym uniform orders. We are returning to gym this year. Physical education is back. They'll be going to our gym classes, and they'll be doing a lot of them outside when weather permits. So please make sure they have their t-shirt or shorts or sweatshirt or sweatpants, whatever combination of the gym uniform you decide to buy. Mentioned about school supplies for a second. We are still encouraging our kids to bring their own device to school. We think it's been a successful piece for us, but I do not want to be just tied to Google Classroom. We want to go back to pen and paper. We want to go back to all those things that have made us so successful in the past. So technology will remain a great resource for us inside of our classrooms, but it cannot and will not be the end-all be-all inside of the classrooms as far as learning and engagement. So please make sure we do have notebooks, we do have pens and paper. You know what, those are things that we need to be successful, and it's going to be part of good teaching, great learning, and engagement for us. So please make sure you're taking a look at those school supply lists and getting those notebooks and pens and paper back. As I mentioned a couple seconds ago, we will be traveling around the building again for the first time in a long time. That's something that's exciting to us. It becomes a little tricky, right, to ensure 3 feet of spacing during travel when over 1,000 kids are moving, plus staff members through the building. So the Department of Education has told us that the masks during traveling will help to mitigate that lack of 3 feet spread when we can't provide it. But I think we have a pretty good system in place to make sure passing is safe and orderly. So they will have to wear their mask during passing, and that'll help to mitigate any infringement on that 3 feet of space. So as we travel through the halls, they will have to wear them, and I think they'll get used to that as we go along. And they will be going back to their arts and tech classes and back to their physical education classes this year, like I already mentioned. So if you're in band or chorus, drama, dance, art, STEM, whatever it may be, you'll be attending those classes in person. Last year, we were forced to have the teachers come to the rooms, and it wasn't a chance for them to specialize in their particular art and tech talent. So this year, they'll be back on that front. We're also able to use the lunchroom again this year. Kids won't be eating inside of their classrooms like they were last year, so that's something that we're thrilled about. Due to the size of all three of our grades, I can't have I can't have the entire grade in the cafeteria at the same time, so I'm probably gonna have to split it, where about half of the grade eats lunch in the cafeteria, while the other half of the grade will eat lunch in the auditorium, and we will rotate those days to give each of the different sections of the grade a chance to eat in the caf and a chance to eat in the auditorium. On nice days, and I love September and October because it's full of nice days, we'll probably get a lot of time where they can eat lunch out on the field and have a little bit of a mass break, have a little bit of some downtime, and we want to use that outside time for a chance for recess as well, where they can burn off a little bit of energy and have a little bit of fun with their friends outside. The field allows us a great amount of space where kids can spread out and have a lot of fun. Unfortunately, our courtyard is still buried under a ton of construction. Right now, we're going through, and I've been here since 2005, and I've spent the vast majority of my career with scaffolding on this building. It was built in 1935, and it's got a lot of issues. Right now, we are getting our windows replaced, which will be nice for us in the long run, but not so nice right now while we deal with the scaffolding on the field, scaffolding around the perimeter of the building. We also just had a brand new state-of-the-art ventilation system put in on our roof. So fresh air is pumping into the building. That is part of our window project. So it's something that not all schools were able to get, but something that we were able to pull off. So we're happy to see fresh air is pumping inside the rooms. All of our rooms are air conditioned. So I always tell them, bring a sweater, right? It's chilly here sometimes. And it's, you know what, it's something that we worked really hard to have, and something that we're proud of, and something that makes those hot September days a little bit more comfortable. So bring a sweatshirt, bring a sweater if you're one of those people that gets a little chilly inside of school. Talk about lunch. Just a couple of things that we want to make sure we bring back this year. And I was pretty lax on it last year. Last year, we really let kids come to school as comfortable as possible. If they wanted to wear their hood, we didn't make a big deal about it. If they were wearing slippers in school, we didn't make a big deal about it. This year, we're going to return to the things that I think have made us great in the past, and the systems and structures that we've always had in place that have made us successful. So we're asking kids to come to school dressed for school, right? There won't be any hoods. They will not be wearing their hoods walking through the hallways. They certainly will not be wearing any hoods inside of the classrooms. Slippers are a great thing to do on pajama day, but something that they do not need to wear every day to school. We do not like flip-flops. Flip-flops in school are tricky because when we move a lot of kids up and down stairs, they become something that becomes a bit of a tripping hazard for us. So we don't want any open back shoes. Want them to have regular sneakers when they're coming to school, or shoes with backs, just to move them through the hallways a little bit quicker and up and down the stairs safely. Tank tops, things along those lines are, again, something that's great for outside, but not so great for school days. If you see our parent-student handbook, it'll be sent home to you shortly. We give a lot of good suggestions on what makes successful dress in school available to you. So please take a look at that. And like I said, we're going to return to the policies that have made us great in the past, and we want to do that again. I mentioned bring your own device. Somebody asked about laptops, iPads, whatever it may be, whatever you're comfortable with. I bought my kids Chromebooks. They're relatively cheap, and they're pretty durable, and they work really well with a lot of the programs that we use here in school. So all three of my kids, and I have preschool age children, all have Chromebooks, and they use them pretty successfully. And it's a pretty cheap alternative to like an iMac or something like that, which costs a few bucks. Even an iPad, a little bit more expensive. So if you're looking for a good cheap alternative, I grabbed them from like the Costco website or from Amazon on their sale days, and it's something that I think helps to make the kids successful. But like we said, technology will not be the dominant piece inside the classroom. We're getting back to really good habits of teaching and learning. Google Classroom accounts I mentioned already, but again, Mrs. Janicki will take care of that for all of our incoming kids tomorrow. Our bells are working, just in case you were wondering. And kids that have existing Google Classroom accounts, again, are back on those fronts. If for some reason you don't have your password to your Google Classroom account, reach out to us via email and we'll hook you up. We'll get you back up and running. I mentioned the updated student handbook. And like I said before, this year we're really going to do our absolute best to return the fun to school. Right? It broke my heart last year walking around the building and seeing 8 or 10 kids inside a classroom. We're going to be back to a much more normal setting where we're averaging somewhere between 20 and 30 kids inside of the rooms, 3 feet apart, probably in rows, maybe in some spaced out groups. But all these things that have made us successful, all the things that have made every day just another great day at IS34, we'll hope to be back this year. And that's something that will bring a smile to our faces, even under our masks. I know there were a bunch of questions. I think Mrs. Janicki and Mr. Thames have done a pretty good job of answering them as we go along, but we'll take a look at them and we will put out an FAQ doc for anything that we haven't done. We're excited for the possibilities that this year is going to bring, and we want to return to that greatness that we've experienced in the past, and the way for us to do that is together. I think the theme the last 18 months or so has been together even when apart. This year we are back together all in person, and that's something we're excited about. And I think that's what our Eagles deserve. So let's knock on wood, all things will be good and we'll be back on that front. If you're not following us on our Instagram and Facebook pages, please start to do so. We post everything we share with you guys in our Google Classroom pages, on our website. We also share out on social media. We like to share pictures of our kids being successful, doing different things, having fun. So at any time, you'll see different kids being celebrated up on our school website. Just saw a question that popped up about transportation. Busing is back, but busing is still in place. OPT is working with our parent coordinator to make sure all of our routes are up and running. Yesterday, we had about 8 of our bus routes disappear from our OPT site, and we were fighting with them to get those bus stops restored. So I think Mrs. Consolo does a great job with that, and she should get us up and running, and we'll get that information out to you shortly. She, I think tomorrow afternoon, she plans to release a lot of that OPT information to you. Today is September 1st. Enjoy every last minute of summer. My summer vacation ended on Monday. You guys still have some time. Have a great Labor Day weekend, and we look forward to seeing your kids here at IS34 on September 13th. Thanks so much for taking the time out to listen today. We'll take a look at those questions in the chat, and I wish you all a great day. Thanks so much, everybody. Great to see you. Have a good day.